Today I was looking back at brands that I tried in the past that I haven't smelled in a long time, wondering kind of what are my thoughts now after years of not smelling them. One such brand that came to mind was Imaginary Authors. It's been a long time since I smelled Imaginary Authors. So today I want to dig out my old samples from years ago, and some of these are discontinued, so this video isn't for everyone. I'm going to be smelling some old fragrances that are no longer made. Some of them are still in the line. I don't have the latest releases, so we are smelling, like I say, the older ones. I just kind of want to revisit and see what I think now. Now my taste has changed and developed, whether or not my impressions might have changed. So we'll dive into the world of Imaginary Authors. So if you don't know Imaginary Authors, the perfumer is Josh Mayer. He is an American perfumer, and he created the brand Imaginary Authors, which is a really cool concept. Basically, as the name would suggest, he creates the name of a particular author. It's a fictional name, and this author will write a book, and then that perfume is inspired by the story woven in that book. Very clever theme and concept of the brand. I really like the packaging. I think it's a cool brand. I like the concept. I think it's very well done. It's one of the cooler kind of vibe indie brand perfumes that I know, in terms of the way that they've done everything. I think a really good job on the brand concept. So I'm going to dive into the first one, which is the one that I was most curious to smell again. And this is one of their more famous ones, I would say. It's called Memoirs of a Trespasser. From memory, this smells like the pages of an old dusty library book. It's vanilla, but it's dusty and it's old and it's paper-like an old book. So we'll see if my memory is remembering it accurately, because it's been a long time since I smelled it. I'm going to be very sparing with it because there's just a little drop left, and I'd like to wear this on skin again. It does, it smells like pages of a book. I like it. It's got this... It's not overly sweet. That's the thing I kind of like about it. It's got a very kind of dry paper kind of feel to it. It's interesting. It's kind of subtle. It's not massively powerful. This one I think is interesting. It's got a... I'm trying to work out if it's familiar in terms of raw materials, if I'm picking out certain synthetics or not. But quite honestly, this one's a little bit of a mystery to me. I'm not quite sure how he did it. If it's materials I've not smelled before. There's something in it that's almost not really quite vanilla, but something almost like toffee or caramel maybe. Kind of a light nuance of something along those lines. But there's this, again, like a pages of a book kind of smell, which is quite unique. It's musty, it's a little bit kind of dark. It does have sweetness, but it's not overly vanillic sweet. It doesn't smell like an overdose of vanillin. I think it's very unisex, kind of a autumn-winter fragrance. Quite casual. It smells a little bit more grown up. I can't imagine a teenager or early 20s kind of wanting to smell like this. It's maybe a little bit older. It's its own vibe. I can't directly compare it to anything, which is, quite a good thing. It's a little bit unique. In general, I like it. I don't think I would probably wear it on skin myself. I don't feel like it would be something that I would want to smell like myself. But as a smell, I'm appreciating it. I'm definitely going to wear this on my skin again, the last couple of drops, and kind of get a feel for it on my skin again after a number of years. But as a first impression, it is how I remembered it, and I do like it. I'm just not sure I would want to walk around smelling exactly like this, but I like the smell. And if someone else smelled like it, I would think that it smell nice. It's got a comforting, kind of cozy vibe to it. The next up is called the Soft Lawn. And from memory, this has got notes of tennis balls, so it's like a kind of a green but soft kind of green. Okay, I have a different impression of it now to when I smelled it years ago. There's some kind of synthetic watery fruit in there. Something I don't know. I'm not. I'd have to go smell some materials myself to pick it out. It reminds me of something like dew fruit or something. It's this kind of watery, fruity kind of smell. It's interesting. I get this, again, watery, fruity, kind of aquatic, wet kind of smell. I also get something that's a little bit coumarin-like. I find it interesting that when you say tennis ball and you think of the texture and the vibe of a tennis ball, obviously that soft, fluffy green, your brain, when you smell it, kind of can imagine it. That's the fascinating thing. Like, when I smelled it, I was like, oh, it's like watery fruit, kind of watery smell. But then you smell it with the tennis ball word in your brain, and you automatically go, yeah, fluffy, soft green. That's fascinating how that works. But yeah, there's a mixture of things in here. I do think there is a green quality to it, but there's this definite kind of watery, kind of fruity quality. And yeah, slightly coumarin, like vanillic hay, kind of coconutty. I'm not a fan of that one actually as much. I remember liking it a little bit more years ago when I first smelled it. It's quite soft, it's very unisex, it's quite casual. I think a daytime summer spring comes to mind. I wouldn't wear that myself. I'm not as intrigued by that one as I was when I first smelled it years ago. Next up is one that I'm interested in smelling again, called Falling into the Sea. From memory, I think it's a watery, fruity kind of smell, but it's been years since I smelled it. Okay, so it's got this kind of synthetic fruit smell. Yeah, like artificial fruit, a little bit tropical. There is a note by Feminique, and it's like a passion fruit base. It's a synthetic that kind of mimics a passion fruit smell, this watery, tropical, kind of fruity smell. I'm getting vibes of something like that with this kind of musky, little bit musky kind of quality to it. I think in terms of the naming of the scent and the vibe of it, Falling into the Sea, I think it fits quite well. I think it gives you a little bit more of a tropical sea, like a very light coloured, beautiful looking sea. Maybe you're in, I don't know, the Bahamas or somewhere like that. For the brief and the vibe, I think it does quite a good job. It smells a little bit singular or focused on this kind of synthetic fruit base. It's not one I would wear myself, but I think it nails the kind of the vibe that it's meant to give and the branding of it. Maybe it loses a little bit of the magic after years of myself blending and learning materials and things, that it doesn't quite smell as mysterious to me now. The more I smell it, there is just something about it. And I don't mean to sound negative, but it's not really a negative comment, but there's some kind of memory recall here of something to do with like washing up liquid or something. I don't know if it's washing up liquid, or there's something in like a cosmetic product or a product that has a perfumed smell in it that's not perfume. Interesting. I think it's good for the name, but I wouldn't want to smell like this myself personally. So that one's kind of I'm not as enamored by it as when I first smelled it years and years ago. The next one is called A City on Fire, and there's not much left, so I'm only going to do one spray because I'd like to keep these as a reference. Oh, interesting. Again, very different to how I remember it. Okay, so from a first impression, I actually smell, or what I think I smell, is a synthetic castoreum, which is a leather kind of note, which is not how I remember this at all. People said this smells like black smoke and maybe a tiny little bit of fruit in there. What I feel like I'm getting is castoreum, which is this kind of, it's like charred, burned leather. It's not a clean leather note. It's a little bit animalic, kind of dirty, smoked, almost like the leather has been smoked, basically, like a smoked charred leather. Now, I might be wrong on materials, because there's certain materials like what I'm just talking about that I haven't smelled in a while, so like I'm going off memory recall. So it might not be accurate, don't take my absolute word for it, it's just a vibe I'm getting. But there's definitely other things going on, like I say, it's not just that material, but that did flash into my mind that, oh, it's kind of like a castoreum note. But there's other things going on, there is a more of a smoky element added to it. It's not the most wearable smell. It does smell a little bit like you've gone through a barbecue or something. Do you know, like if you've been barbecuing for the day and the smoke gets into your clothes? It does have it has that kind of vibe. Or if you're around a campfire, again, where the smoke impregnates your clothing and your clothes kind of smell smoky afterwards. That's the vibe that this gives. So it's not for everyone. It's definitely an acquired taste for perfume. But in terms of the branding, again, a city on fire, I think it does a good job of portraying the image that they're putting across, you know? So I think, again, on brand, it's very good. It's not one that's the most wearable kind of fragrance, so again, it's more of a niche kind of like. It's not something I would wear myself personally. Next up is called Whispered Myths. So I looked up the notes for this one just out of curiosity because I wasn't quite sure what I was smelling. It says there's an oud note, a melon note, cedar, ambrette musk, and honey. The melon note is a weird note in perfume. In low doses it's okay, but when it's a little too high I don't quite like the texture of it. It's kind of thick and chewy, almost rubbery almost, but like in a watery way. It's kind of weird. It's hard to describe. It's like a chewy, watery, aquatic, watery, sweet, rubbery kind of thing. I'm not quite into it personally. Yeah, when you smell it, you get... He says Cambodian Oud. It smells more synthetic to me personally, like a synthetic oud. And it's possible he might be using a real one, but... the smell does come across synthetic, so I would, at an educated guess, I would presume it's a synthetic oud. Unless it's just the way the other notes are kind of, maybe it's a combination of real and synthetic, I don't know. Yeah, you get this kind of resinous, woody, smooth smell that's very subtly sweet. The melon note isn't too strong, but you get a little hint of it. It's unusual, it's kind of odd. It's not a smell that I find attractive. For my own taste, that wouldn't be a perfume for me. I don't... Again, I don't find it an attractive smell. I'm really sorry if that sounds like harsh or mean. It's not meant to be mean. It's just like very honest. I'd say it's a little bit more on the masculine side. It's maybe a little bit of a challenge to wear. It's not the most mass appealing smell in the world. That one's difficult for me because I just don't quite like it, to be honest. But again, it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just very personal taste. Just because I'm not a fan of it doesn't mean it's bad. I just want to make that clear. It's just personal taste. So that one's not my cup of tea. Okay, so we're moving on to Violet Disguise. I have a feeling this one is discontinued. It has an Ionone kind of synthetic Ionone iris kind of note that's a little bit more sweetened, maybe by some kind of... I'm getting again kind of this watery, fruity quality, but backed up with this kind of Ionone Ionone kind of iris kind of note. Yeah, like a watery fruit with iris. I suppose I'm analysing the materials too much. In terms of vibe, it smells more feminine, it smells daytime, it smells casual. It's not too sweet. It's a little bit playful, maybe a little bit more youthful. It comes across maybe a little bit simple. It's not overly nuanced, it's minimal. It definitely has this kind of slightly watery, fruity kind of smell to it. Again, with that iris kind of note. Yeah, it does have maybe a slight kind of, a little bit hint of a Parma Violet candy kind of chalky thing going on. It's not my personal taste, but again, it feels more feminine. Okay, we'll move on to the next one, which I don't have a sample of, but I have it locked in my brain. I don't have it anymore, but it's called O Unknown. That one used, why it comes to mind is because it used a synthetic Oris accord. I can't quite remember which specific Oris it was. There's an Oris synthetic that it utilized as the main accord of the fragrance, and it smells a little bit like a rubber doll's head, so like a baby rubber doll, and you have that weird kind of vanillic, powdery, odd kind of Play-Doh almost smell. It has that kind of doll head smell to it. That's yeah, it's a synthetic iris note. I can't quite remember, Oravone or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly which one. So, but that one wasn't. Again, I probably just because of the material recognition, didn't, I wouldn't wear it myself. Again, quite focused on a more of a singular material, and then built around it lightly. But one material is highlighted and utilized as the core kind of vibe of it. Okay, moving on to what I think is the last one that I have left. It's called the Cobra and the Canary. I did a review of this one years and years and years ago. I gave it a good review. I thought it was interesting. I wouldn't wear it myself, but it was interesting. So we'll see kind of what I think now. It's very dark. If you can see, the test strip is stained. No, it doesn't pick up on the camera well. Yeah, it's kind of soaked into the paper now. It's a very dark yellow kind of colour, like a honey. So I did look up the notes for this one just now. It's got leather, hay, iris, and lemon. It is kind of odd. It's different. The leather note is a little bit unusual, the way that it comes across. But I can smell the hay. I think it's just the way the hay and the leather kind of blend makes it kind of different. It's not probably as interesting as I remember it. It's definitely kind of unique. I think if you want a unique leather, then you want to check this one out. It's not something I'd wear myself, but I think it's interesting the way the leather mixes with the hay, and I guess the iris is having a little bit of an effect too. It's just a bit odd. It's different, but in a kind of a good way. It's not overly mass appealing. In general, I would say unisex, but maybe a woman might not naturally be attracted to this all that much. It smells maybe less complicated than I remember. I remember years ago thinking it was quite complex, but actually it feels more structured and minimal almost now today. There's definitely some interesting nuances to it. It's different. It's interesting. It's just not something I find attractive as a smell to want to smell like, if that makes sense. As a smell, it's kind of intriguing, but it's not something I'd want to wear myself as a perfume. Interesting. I'm really glad that I kind of went over them years later. Like I say, it's been a long time since I smelled these. I want to tell you about Cape Heartache, because I used to own a bottle for a long time. I think it's my favourite from Imaginary Authors. It's got this kind of pine forest vibe, like a Christmas tree, but mixed with this kind of sweet artificial strawberry. But the way that the strawberry mixes with the pine needles and the Christmassy tree kind of vibe, and the, this woody green foresty vibe with this clearly like fake sweet strawberry is just really weird but cool. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. It's kind of rough around the edges, but it's just wacky and a bit different. And yeah, that's, I think, a fascinating combination that for whatever reason just works quite well. Yeah, that was quite fun to wear. I enjoyed that one. I used to wear it at Christmas time because of this slight Christmas tree feel that it had, and the strawberry makes it a little bit playful, a little bit fun, adds a bit of a sweetness to it. that was a joy to wear. Again, it's kind of rough around the edges, but it's just a little bit daring in a way. It's kind of an interesting blend that I wouldn't have thought to do myself. It's quite out of the box in terms of pairing materials. I think it's quite cool that way. I would say probably Memoirs of a Trespasser would be my second favourite, which actually that was the case years ago too. Probably, I think Memoirs of a Trespasser would be second in line to Cape Heartache for me. I think there's some really interesting fragrances. I think they're definitely worth checking out. I think they have a really solid, cool kind of brand concept. I love the bottles. I like that they go for the name that they're giving you, you know, so you kind of get what you expect in a way because you're buying it because of the story of the name. I think they fulfill that kind of brief quite well usually. My top recommendations would be Cape Heartache and Memoirs of a Trespasser personally. If you've got a recommendation or love from the brand, please let me know in the comments, because that's how YouTube works. This video is not going to get many views, I don't think, because Imaginary Authors isn't all that popular to talk about. People don't have much interest in the brand, I don't think, in terms of watching the video on it. And, you know, so revisiting a brand like this is probably going to kill the algorithm. But I just felt like doing it today because I've not smelled them in a long time, so I hoped it was interesting. I found it interesting. I might do some more videos like this at some point where I just kind of go back in time and smell old samples I've not smelled in a long time, just because I'm interested myself of how things change and how perceptions change over time. I think I'm going to probably do some more ranking videos because they're kind of fun to do. I'm going to do Amouage, ranking Amouage. I'm going to do it for Frederic Malle, and I'm going to do it for Les Indomptables. So we're going to have some ranking videos. They're a little bit more long-winded to edit. There's a lot of editing involved, so they're a little bit slower to put out. Let me know your favourites from the brand, or least favourite, whichever one you want to share. I want to see you again. Take care, everyone. Have a good day. Goodbye.
But that old man Harlem keeps me rolling on.